In this video, we're going to talk about how to choose a good website for research. And that process is called website evaluation, where you evaluate or you look at a website based on certain criteria to see if that would be a good resource for you for your project. I love this little cartoon. It's a little boy. He gets an F on his paper and he's yelling at the teacher, "What do you mean all my facts are wrong? I copied everything off the internet." And the joke is he believes everything on the internet is true. Well, we know now, by this time in your research life, that not everything on the internet is true or factual, and it's your job to try and figure out what are the trusted resources that you could use for your research project. So we use 5 criteria. We call them the ABCs of website evaluation, and we want to try and make sure that your website that you choose is a 4 or a 5. So let's take a look. You want to make sure that the author is an expert. And the author could be a company too. So National Geographic, it's not a person, but it's an author of a lot of information online. So that would be a good expert author. Is it accurate? Is the information accurate? Is there bias? You can use sites that have bias, but you need to be aware of it. Is the information up to date? And does this connect to my topic and can I read it? So we're going to go through each one just to give you examples of good and bad so you understand how to assess a good resource. So let's talk about author first. We're going to take a look at a couple of bad ones. This is a Prezi, which is like a little video. And if you're trying to look at author, you could see this is about colonial food by Jackson and Walker. We don't know who they are. And it kind of looks like this was their school project. So you don't really want to use someone else's school project for your school project. You want better authors than that. So we're going to get rid of that. Here's another one. This is not a school project. It's about bees. The facts look pretty good, but I can't find an author anywhere or a company. And when I start to look over here, it looks a bit weird in that you have recipes and something about a dentist, and I think this is probably not a good research site. I think you could do better. We want to make sure that for answers.com and how.com, you never ever use those as good websites for research because anyone can click and answer a question and you don't know who they are. So I would never use these as trusted sites. But as I said, even if you can't find an author, a company would be a good website. And National Geographic is a trusted company, so that would be a good website for your research. So I hope you understand a little bit about understanding whether the author is an expert. And this is just something that you have to judge. Next is the information true or accurate? So let's take a look at that. Really, you're looking at 2 things. You want trusted author or trusted site. So if you get a good author, you could probably trust that the information is accurate. The other way to check is if you are doing research on more than one site. If they all have the same information, then you could say it's probably accurate. As you know, there's a lot of fake sites online. This is a fake site. It's about an octopus that lives in a tree, and it looks really real, but it's totally 100% fake. And so is this. This is about the dangers of bread. And again, you can't see the author, you can't see anything. It's actually a pretty funny site if you read it. So there's fake sites out there. And I also want you to know there's fake pictures. So sometimes you know that the information could be fake, but there's a lot of fake pictures out there too. This is a picture that went around after 9/11 to say this was a picture of actually one of the planes going into the buildings, and it wasn't. It was a totally fake picture, and there's a lot of fake pictures out there too. So pictures and information can be fake. I just want you to understand that. So you want accuracy is a very important part, but usually if you get the author right, you get the accuracy. I'm going to skip bias for now. We'll come back to that. Is the information up to date? This is an easy one. We'll just take a look. It really matters if something's up to date or not. This is Macworld. It's a magazine online. It's a very trusted source. They have great authors, great information. And this is an article about iPods, but notice that it's from 2006. So today, that information is out of date. and I don't think anyone uses iPods anyway now anyway, but that date is really, really important. So you just want to keep an eye on the date of when something was written because the internet keeps everything ever published on it. So let's look at another one. This is from NASA, and NASA obviously is an incredibly trusted source on science, and this is about planets. But if you look here, this is March 2004. So that's probably not the most up-to-date information on planets. So you just really want to keep an eye on the date of when an article was written. So that's an easy one. So, and then connection is also pretty easy, and then we'll get to bias. Connection is really about, can you read it and does it have to do with my project? So let's look at a Wikipedia article. Wikipedia is fine. I don't mind Wikipedia, but I find it's really hard to read. This one has an awful lot of Latin terms and things I don't understand in it. So even I probably wouldn't use this as a good site because I don't get it. So definitely you have to be able to read it. But the other thing is I'm doing a project on ancient Egypt, and I just Googled Egypt and homes because I want to know what the homes were like in ancient Egypt. But of course, because I didn't put the word ancient in here, I'm getting current homes for sale. So does this have to do with my project? No, not at all. So you're going to have to be really use your brain a little bit in terms of what you search for and then judge whether that connects to your project or not. So that's a bad resource. So let's get to bias because bias is a really big piece. You can use sources that have bias. You just need to know what you're looking at. Bias means that they have an opinion on something or they're just telling one side of the story. So you really have to know your source well and understand your topic well so you see, does this source have bias? We're going to take a look at a couple so you can see what I mean. All right, so this is an article from PC Magazine on the best headphones of 2018. PC Magazine is a great online magazine. It is a trusted source, and they have information on all different headphones for 2018. So it's up to date, good website, good author, he knows what he's talking about. Wonderful. This is not biased. They've looked at every single headphone and they give you good information on it. However, if you went to Bose and you looked at their information on headphones, also very good trusted source. Bose is a good headphone. They give you lots of good information. However, they're only going to tell you good things about their headphones. They're not going to tell you about anybody else's headphones. So this source, although it's good, is biased. It's biased towards Bose. They want you to buy something from them and they want you to buy Bose. So you just need to be aware of that, and then you could go to other manufacturers and you could judge yourself. But you just need to be aware about what their bias is. Let's look at another one. Save the Whales. Save the Whales is a beautiful site. It has a lot of information on whales and dolphins. But their purpose is about saving whales, that they're endangered and that they want to raise money and they want to influence governments about not killing whales for food or for other reasons. So even though it's a good website, you need to understand that they're only going to give you information that goes with what they want you to know. So I just want you to know this does have bias, but you could use it, but it does have bias. The same with, let's say, nuclear energy. We'll take a look at a couple on nuclear energy. This is a great site. This is the Nuclear Energy Association for people who build nuclear power plants. And if you look here, it has a whole section, Voices for Nuclear Energy. So they're not going to give you any information about what is bad about nuclear power. They're just not. But they probably have a lot of information about what's good about nuclear power and how they build it and all those sorts of things. So let's take a look at another one. This is called Green America. And also a good site on good environmental topics. 10 reasons to oppose nuclear energy. So this has bias. So as we start to go through all the sources, almost all sources have some kind of bias. Almost all sources are trying to get you to believe something. So you just need to be really careful on understanding what they're trying to get get at. This is 5 reasons never to drink bottled water, but the source is Pelican Water Systems. So they want you to put their water system in your home and take um, water with you wherever you go in a portable container. They don't want you to buy bottled water. They want you to buy their system. So I hope you start to understand what bias is. Here's another one, last one. This is information on a disease called hypothyroidism, but it's published by a drug manufacturer that sells the medicine to treat it. So you might get good information on the disease and about taking their medicine, but you're not going to get maybe natural ways to treat this disease or alternative ways to treat this disease. So again, this is biased, probably good information, but understand what they're trying to tell you. I think that's a good understanding bias always is good for all sorts of thinking and information, not just research projects, but just understanding bias is a really important skill to have in life as a citizen. So let's review. You're going to make sure as best as you can that every one of your sources has a good author, an expert author. The information is accurate. You're going to understand the bias. It's going to be up to date and it's going to connect to your topic. I hope that this helps in understanding website evaluation.